Okay, as many of you know, I have been talking at great length regarding the FTC MITOR law that controls shipping regulations and order fulfillment, specifically to the Audra Winter case. But it's apparent now that more authors and TikTok shops that are related to the book art community seem to be doing this practice. So I think we need to cover this again. And so I invite you to learn about the rules, the laws, and the best practices regarding order fulfillment. This all came about when I discovered that Audra Winter was shipping bookmarks initially to mark an order fulfilled so that she would have access to the funds she gained from TikTok Shop. And I thought that this was extremely odd and a weird way of doing business. So I consulted with an attorney in Flagstaff, and they flat out told me that what she's doing is illegal and she could get in big trouble for this. The rule demands actual shipment by the promise date or within 30 days if none was promised. Marking an order, and this is where she goes wrong, and where other shops are doing this, are doing it wrong. Marking an order as complete, implying that you fulfilled your side of the bargain before shipping, is categorically deceptive. That's because it misleads the buyer about the status of fulfillment, triggering unfair or deceptive business practice liability. It also means that you're telling the law, yeah, I totally shipped that product. They've received everything. And that is categorically false. It's an extremely unethical, deceptive business practice to do this. And I'm encouraging all shop owners within our community to stop practicing business this way. A status misrepresentation is a bait for your money. Now, you might say, oh, it's just a book, it's just something small. But when it's done on a scale, it doesn't matter. The law is the law. It doesn't matter if it's for $1 or 200. The law remains the same. I don't care how trivial the product is. Buyers deserve better. Even if the product eventually ships within 30 days, marking it complete early misrepresents the true status. This directly conflicts with the rules requirement to notify and offer cancellation when shipment doesn't occur by the deadline, even if late is still within 30 days. What these sellers, authors, and book talkers are doing is leveraging status for funds, and it's a deceptive game. What this practice basically is screaming is that I don't actually have the money to cover the purchase of your product so I can send it to you. I'm going to need your money first in order for me to get the product. And that is a screaming red flag. That should give you all kinds of red flags all over the place. When a seller marks an order complete just to get paid, even though the core item hasn't shipped, they're essentially using misrepresentation to access funds ahead of performance. That's exactly the kind of deceptive practice the FTC calls out under Section 5, misrepresenting material information that consumers rely on. This breach in violating the law doesn't vanish with eventual shipping, even though you say that you're going to ship it within 30 days and meet that deadline. The breach happens when you mark the order complete, when the core product has not been shipped. This isn't a technical violation cured by shipping later. You can't cure it. Once you mark that order as complete without the core product being shipped, you are in violation of an FTC MITOR law. It's serious. The moment you misrepresent status, you've broken the rule and potentially Section 5, regardless of a subsequent shipment. So what I see happening in our community is authors and book talkers and shop owners using TikTok as kind of like their lending facility or credit card or bank lender. TikTok Shop is a marketplace, not your lender. It's not there to float your business, cover your cash flow gaps, or act like a line of credit. The FTC's mail, internet, or telephone order merchandise rule, 16 CFR 435, makes this crystal clear. You can't mark an order complete unless the core product has actually shipped. Accessories, freebies, digital add-ons don't count. That includes bookmarks, book art, anything swag, right? If the main thing a customer paid for is still sitting in your warehouse, or worse, isn't even manufactured yet, or even paid for or purchased by you, the order isn't fulfilled. Marking an order complete just to unlock TikTok Shop funds is misrepresentation of status. That's the exact language the FTC uses for deceptive practices. It's inherently built into the architecture of the MITOR law. You're telling the platform and the buyer, this order is done when it isn't. And I also want to mention that just because you found a hack or a way around things does not make it legal. Okay? Misrepresentation is illegal inherently. The FTC treats this as a violation of Section 5 of the FTC Act, unfair and deceptive acts or practices. It doesn't matter if you ship 2 days later or within 30 days or at some future date with their express consent. At the moment you marked it complete without shipment, you crossed the line. Cash flow hacks aren't a defense. TikTok Shop isn't your financier. If you need early access to funds to produce or buy stock, that's a financing issue that you're going to have to figure out, not something that you can solve by lying about your order status. Our readers and our community deserves better than to have vendors within our community using deceptive practices like this. So I'm asking nicely and professionally to stop deceiving buyers if you are conducting business this way. Get an attorney. I am not an attorney, but I did minor in business law, and I do consult my attorney over in Flagstaff. This is where I got this information. Call an attorney right now. Tell them what you are doing if you are conducting business this way and see what their reaction is. I would also invite you to go ahead and talk to a police officer and tell them exactly how you're conducting business and see if that makes you uncomfortable. And if it does, that's your signal that you're probably doing something wrong. But again, consult an attorney. They will tell you not to do this. They will tell you that doing this is terribly wrong, unethical, and can land you in a heap of trouble with the law and consumers. Audra Winter, in the situation that she's in right now, is the perfect example. Customers are having a really hard time getting refunds, and she still has not shipped out the books that she has owed customers. Stop deceiving customers using the TikTok Shop. We value readers in our space, and they are not financial targets to be taken advantage of. They deserve better. If you are a customer and see a business on TikTok Shop conducting business in this way, report them immediately to the FTC and TikTok Shop. Just because you found a way around the system, because you don't have access to special shop features like pre-orders, does not mean that you can hack the system legally to gain access to money. Conducting business in this manner is unethical, deceptive, and gross. It gives all the ick. So hopefully we're all on the same page now about shipping bookmarks and swag first and then the pre-ordered book later. It's clear and obvious that these authors and merchants don't have the funds available to make these purchases and fulfill the orders. And that's a financing problem that they need to figure out outside of the TikTok Shop. If you have any questions, again, consult an attorney. They will probably tell you the same thing that mine did. And I hope that this video puts everything to bed so that we're all clear on what the expectations are, what the law is, and how we need to follow it so that we can treat customers better. Honestly, I don't think these people intend to intentionally deceive customers, and I don't think that they intend to break the law, but here we are seeing it happen play out. And the Audra Winter case is a prime example of what happens when things go bad. And I want this to stop. I want the scams to stop. So you may not start out as being deceptive, but it can end that way and it can develop into a really big problem. So I would recommend talking to an attorney. Again, I urge you all, if you're doing this practice, get an attorney. Thanks for watching.